All right, welcome Bliss Realty. This is Amir Sani with Guild Mortgage, and we are so thrilled to be here today to help you plan out your business for 2019. So as I'd like to start with, the first question is, who's worked up a business plan in the past? In the room, we've got a couple people that have worked out the business plans and a couple people that haven't. And truly, when you write a business plan, it's the intention of hitting your goals. And as I was stating right before we started this video, the first step is creating a goal. The second step is sharing it. If the first way we share it is through our voice and talking to others about our goal, that's one thing. But they're, and I mean this the best way, they're only there to keep you in check when you tell somebody else. They're not there to help you. When you write a business plan, that's really being intentional about the goals that you have for the year ahead. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to start our conversation with that, which is the 2019 business plan for your business, right? And for your business, what matters is not only that you have a plan, but that plan has an end date. That end date for us is going to be 12/31 of 2019. Congratulations, you've got about a month and a half head start over everybody else that's starting to think about 2019, because you're thinking about it in 2018. And so when we think about it in 2018, that gives us a little bit of extra time to be ready to go by the first of the year. So if our goal is to be somewhere by the end of the year, the somewhere is where I want to know, right? So if I were to ask, what is it based on how many houses you sell, how much money you make, your GCI, your volume, I don't care which one it is, I care that you have one. I either want to sell 24 houses a year, 36 houses a year, want to make $100,000 in GCI, I want to net $100,000, I want to sell $4 million in real estate. Does it matter which one? All of those are about the same, right? If I want to sell $4 million in real estate, I'm going to make about $100,000, right? If I want to make $100,000, I got to sell about 20 houses, right? So what I love is I just want to know the goal. I want you to know your goal. What is that number? Whatever that number is, I want to work towards hitting that number. So, just in the interest of most people have this goal of $100,000. Right? Most people, if you ask them, like, how much money do you want to make? They want to make 6 figures. That would be a good place to start. Now, some in the room are going, that's not a good place to be. And that's okay, right? So whatever I build, just know that your plan can look the same and be different. So if I want to build a plan to do $100,000 in GCI, right? The average sales price in our market is about $250, but I like to go all the way down to $200. Just because I might sell some stuff way out or little, right? So $200,000, if I'm getting 3% on my commission, that's $6,000. If I'm getting 2.5% on my commission, that's $5,000. I like to go to $5,000. Why? Because I love giving discounts. Said no one. And yet, what do we always have to do? Discount our services for whatever reason, friends, family, they're buying their third listing from us, whatever it is. Right? So for that reason, at 2.5%, that blended margin at $5,000 a transaction, right? 20 times 2.5, that means I have to do 20 transactions to get my $100,000. So 20 homes sold by 12/31 of 19. And if I really do have my sales price of 200,000, right? That means I'm doing 4 million in volume. You guys cool with that? Okay. So if it's 20 homes that I need to sell, look, I understand that not everybody wants to work with buyers and not everybody wants to take listings. But the reality is we don't know who we're working with until we meet them. And typically, if someone's going to buy today and they're not a first-time home buyer, what are they? Probably someone that owns a home, right? Like if they're not moving out of a rental, if they're not moving here from somewhere else, whatever, they'll probably have a home to sell to be able to buy a home. So when we look for homes sold, we're working with both buyers and sellers. And it would be really easy for me to say, I want 10 buyers and I want 10 sellers. But the reality of it is, the only difference between these two buckets is in one area. The only area that's different between the two in terms of where you find people is that sellers give you a clue. You've got expired listings and you have for sale by owners, don't you? On the seller side, you don't have expired buyers or buyers that buy on their own, right? Like there's no such thing. They can. I mean, they can walk in and they can say, "Hey, selling agent, you're going to represent me."
Yeah.
That's not good for them, but they don't care. They're trying to find a deal. Hey, how do I get a discount? All that fun stuff. But the reality is that we don't find expired buyers or for sale by owners up here. We only find them in the sellers. Everything else, you can argue, I feel is the same on the buyer or the seller side. Here's why. The number one source of everybody's business who's been in business for a while is?
2019 is definitely going to be buyers.
Okay, but hold on. Where do you get buyers and sellers if you're a realtor and you've been in business for a little while, or if you're brand new, or if you've been in business for a long time? Where does the majority of your first or the beginning of your business come from? Sphere of influence. So it's easy to say that for both buyers and sellers, the easiest place to get business is from your sphere because of this know, like, trust relationship. So think about this. In anything that you buy, you either buy it based on price and ease, Amazon, Costco, places like that, or you call your friends and you ask them where they bought their stuff. And then you use a trusted referral, a high trust relationship referral that says, "Oh, I bought mine from Mara. You should go use her." And then I don't even ask any questions about discount or rate or anything else. I just know that the best person to use is Mara. Right? If I get referred to Shannon to do my loan, am I going to shop her? Probably not as much as if I just went out and researched how to find a loan. Right? So all those things, your sphere is going to refer you and recommend you the best. The challenge is some people think, I don't want to work with people I know, I want to work with strangers. And the reality is that how can you work with a stranger if you can't work with someone that you know, like, and trust? I just think you're doing yourself a disservice there, right? So the first place that I'm going to go to for both my sellers and my buyers is my sphere of influence. Now, on the buy side of my sphere of influence, if everybody pulled out their phones and they looked at their contacts, all of you have somewhere between 200 and 2,000 contacts in your phone. And if I just asked you, which one of them own and which one of them rent, could you pick them out? Probably not. Now, what I would challenge you is, of your sphere, it's 2019 in 2 months. Have you updated your database? What I mean by that is, I get a call once a year on December 19th. I know this because my daughter's birthday is December 17th. On December 17th, I get a call from my friend who wishes my daughter a happy birthday. He is a realtor. He's never met my daughter, and yet he knows when she was born, and he calls me every year and wishes her a happy birthday. He also calls me on my birthday, my wife's birthday, my son's birthday, and my other son's birthday, and I've never bought a house from him. Pretty great. Who do I think about all the time if I'm thinking about real estate? That guy. Right? I'm not going to use his name because he might see this, but he'd already know who he is. Now the awesome thing is, 2 days after he calls personally and says happy birthday to my daughter, his assistant calls and updates his database. So me, being the funny guy, I say, I just talked to him. Will you tell him that this is his doctor and he needs to call me back right away? So he calls me and he's like, and I'm like, I couldn't help it. I just talked to you yesterday. You're calling to update your database. So I just thought I'd mess with him, right? But the point is that he's consistent about that one job. He makes sure to hit everybody's birthday. Why? Because that's the only day that we care about as an individual. All right, that's my day. I was born this day. This is the best day in the world. Yay me. Right? How do we know their birthdays? Other than Facebook? You ask.
Them.
You ask. And then when they say why, you say, I'm putting together a birthday program. I want to make sure I include you. How would you feel if I said that to you? Wouldn't you feel great? Like, oh my God, Amir's going to include me in his birthday program? You don't even know what it is. But right away, if with our sphere, we can just do one project, and this works for loan officer, realtor, I don't care who you are, one time a year you should update your database by calling everyone that you already know and saying, hey, I'm updating my real estate database for 2019. I just want to make sure I included you in this process and that I had your information for next year. If I did that, then I could ask all of them to fill in the gaps. here are the 5 holes that I have in my business. I need to know their name, their phone number, their email, their address, and their birthday. Remember the birthday? Because I'm doing a birthday program. Why do I need the rest of it? Well, remember when I asked you about your contacts in your phone and how many of them you know own versus rent? I guarantee you, if you were to print out your list of everyone that you have in your phone on an exported CSV file, you would see that you have their name and their phone number. And you're missing their email, their address, and their birthday. And everybody in your phone knows you, so it wouldn't be a shock to them if you called them, because it would show up as Mara calling me, Amir calling me, Shannon calling me, Kyle calling me, Romy calling me, right? Because I'm friends with you and you're in my phone. Mara, you're in my phone. When you call me, it says Mara. That's why I don't answer.
Run.
Couldn't help it. So, with the rest of this, when I'm calling, I'm saying, hey, Mara, I'm updating my real estate database. You got a minute? And you say yes. I say, well, clearly, I called you on this phone number. Is this still the best number to call you, text you, and send stuff to you if I want to send it to your phone?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. May I please get a good email address for you that you check? Ask me why.
Why?
Well, because I'm putting together a newsletter in 2019 that's going to keep you informed about what's going on in the real estate market in Phoenix. Again, it's just one email once a month that's going to keep you abreast about what's going on. Would that be all right?
Sure.
Awesome. What's an email that you check?
I'm gonna give you this.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I have your email address, may I also get a good mailing address for you?
Mm-hmm.
What's your mailing address? 123 Main Street? Not a lot of people live there. Awesome. Now, that's your address. How long have you lived there?
How long do you want me to live?
I don't care.
10 years.
10 years. If you've lived there for 10 years, Mara, I'm assuming that you probably own, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. May I ask, in that 10 years, has a realtor given you a current market analysis, evaluation of what your home is worth today?
No.
Would it be all right if I did so?
Sure.
Okay. When I do that, would it be okay if I gave you a call back and maybe either I'll email it to you or we can get together and we can go over it?
Sure.
Awesome. Last thing I need from you, Mara, is your birthday month and date. I don't need the year. I'm putting together a birthday program and I want to make sure I include you.
9/9.
9/9. Awesome. Mara, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm going to put together that CMA and I'll get back to you right away. Is there anything else I can do for you? Awesome. How hard is that call? How hard is that call?
Easy.
Easy, and the people on the phone are going to say what when they hang up? Oh my God, Mara calls. She was so nice. Thank you so much. It was so nice of her to call. She included me on all the shit. She's going to send me all kind of stuff. I'm going to know my house worth. Right now, let's turn that around and let's say you've been renting.
Right.
How long have you lived in your home?
2 years.
2 years. Do you own or do you rent?
Rent.
Rent. Wonderful. May I ask when your lease is up or are you month to month?
Month to month. Right
Month to
now.
month. Awesome. Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about home ownership?
Well, I went through the short sale stuff. I don't want to. I just.
Oh, Mara,
it's
so did I.
stressful.
So did I. 2007 was a tough year for me. And yet, the great thing is it's 2018. It's been 11 years, and I own my home. I've been down the same road. If there was an option for you to be able to be a homeowner, would you like that opportunity?
Maybe.
If there was a way for me to help you get there, do I have permission to help you?
Sure.
Awesome.
I gotta keep my payment below $1,300, $1,200.
So here's the best part is I've got a fantastic person who works with me named Shannon Hines, and she is a magnificent lender who can make anything work. If she can't make it work, you can't buy a house. Right? The 1,300 is funny.
I know.
I mean, I can find you a studio apartment somewhere.
I'm messing with her.
No,
Jabbing.
but the reality of that is
Yeah.
that most people don't know what they can get without a home.
Right.
And I ran into somebody that had a short sale. And I said, well, that's cool. If I could help you still, would you be interested? They're like, yeah, but I think my credit's bad. I'm like, no problem. I have someone that can fix your credit too. Could I still help you? They're like, yes. The point is, are we having the conversations, right? And if we have this conversation, we can find out. If we found out that 60 people on our database rented, do we know that we have 60 potential future business opportunities?
Huge.
And if we knew that 200 of the 260 owned, what if we gave 200 people a CMA? Would anybody have a question about what their house was worth or what they could do if they sold or if they could cash out some refi or... The reality is most of us don't do that. I was on Facebook a couple days ago, and this buddy of mine posted this thing about how Netflix didn't ruin Blockbuster,
Oh, yeah.
how Uber didn't ruin the taxis, how Airbnb didn't ruin the hotel industry. It's so true, right? Airbnb came to be because it's easier to get a room there than it is in a hotel sometimes, right? It's easier to hail an Uber or a Lyft than a cab. Right? You call a cab, they're rude to you. They don't show up. It smells bad. The car looks like crap. Why would you want to get into it? Right? If the value is not there, is the customer. In anything. Right? I had to go buy charcoal yesterday or else I would not have bought it at Ace. Why? Because they had horrible customer service. And I go to Ace because it's a friendly hardware place. With the little guy that's supposed to be there every day to help you. Nobody's there. Right? But guess what? I have to buy charcoal, so I'm going to go there. Why? It's the closest place. Does that make sense? If there was somewhere that gave me better service, I hands down would drive there. Hands down. Right? So value matters. If you do this, what do people think? If you did this with everybody in a database, wouldn't they think that you care about them? There's all kinds of weird sayings, but there's one that I'm going to mess up here, right? When you help people get what they want, you'll get what you want, right? And nobody cares what you know until they know that you care about them. Does that make sense? Nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Is this us caring? And then when we give them the valuation of their home, now aren't we being the expert? Right? So if I want to do one thing to make sure I sell homes, I want to tell everyone I know that I'm really good at what I do. They can refer me then. If I gave you a CMA, Simon, and said, hey Simon, do you like the value of your home? Yes, you found this a value, great. Do you have anybody that lives around you that might see the same value, that would like to see this information? You would say yes, and then you would feel okay with introducing me to your neighbor and say, hey, Amir gave me a great CMA, you might want to try him out too if you don't know what the value of your home is. It's a hell of a lot better than me going to Simon going, hey, know your neighbor? No. Will you introduce me to Kyle? Hey, Kyle, it's Amir. I don't know why I'm saying hi to you, but I'm introducing you because he made me. Right? That's not a good way to build a business. But if we're building a business based off of value, that CMA is value. Now with that email gives us the ability to send them a newsletter every single month. The CMA is a valuation quarterly that we can give about their home. The newsletter is our opportunity to talk to them every single month about the market. Not about their home, about the market. Right? The Phoenix market. What's it doing? Where would we get that information if we didn't have it? Wouldn't that be like a Crawford report? Wouldn't that be the Sevrar? Wouldn't that be the broker? Wouldn't that be somebody that could give us information that we could then disseminate out to our database? Right? That newsletter, that once a month touch, is something about, the great thing about Bliss is you have a commercial and residential division. You have new homes, you have existing business, you have all this stuff that you can talk about. You can talk about what's going on in the commercial industry. You can talk about what's going on in East Valley. You can talk about the charitable work that you guys do and the different things that you do that once a month goes out to your database, and then you can call and say, hey, we were just calling to see if you have any questions about the market, about any of our charities, about any of the opportunities that we have. Right? And then the birthday is just a card and a call. Who doesn't like to get a card and a call on your birthday? If we did this to our database, if we have 200 people in our database, that is 33 plus touches. And there's a little red book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent that says that if you touch somebody 33 times in a year effectively, what's the key word there? Effectively, right? Touch. Well, touch matters, right? Touch matters. It matters that you touch them. But it matters that you touch them appropriately. I love these words all play together. But that appropriate touch means that once a month I send you a newsletter. That appropriate touch is once a quarter you have a valuation of your home. Because then I can appropriately ask you for your feedback. If I just randomly pop by and say hi, half the time I surprise you in a bathrobe. Like, shit, go away. I'm not home. I don't know why you're here. My cousin's here. My uncle's here. But those aren't good pop-bys. Those are like, I was in the area. What the hell are you doing in the area? You live all the way over there. Right? Those are hard to be, it's hard to be spontaneously perfect. But if we're systematically doing the right thing each time, then we're able to get more out of just this one thing, which is our sphere. By the way, if you've been in business for 5 years or more, 60% of your business comes from your sphere. And if you're profitable, 80% does. Sphere is past clients, current clients, all your friends and family, everyone you know. Right? So if we are touching these people effectively, then honestly, we don't have to do anything else if we have a big enough sphere. Now the reality is, if we have a small sphere, the only way we grow it is by going out and being active in the community and touching people. I used to have a shirt that said, "Ask me for 33 touches." My wife made me get rid of it. And it attracted the opposite sex. Or no, the same sex, I guess. All right. Maybe it's the mustache. I don't know. It's on video. Outside of our sphere, where's the second place that we find buyers?
Open houses.
Open houses. Is it safe to say that it's also the second place that we can find sellers?
Yes, very much so.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Now, is that what most people think? Or just
No.
experienced people?
No, I think people think they're sitting open houses open for buyers.
Or that it's just their job to sit at open
But
house
they're
for
just
no
sitting
reason?
there, yeah,
Because half the people don't even go for buyers, do they? They go, "I have to go sit in this open house."
Mhm.
"Hi, buyer, come on in, go look around, I'll give you what you do," and they leave.
Yeah.
How many people came? I don't know, like I think 4. Like I was that guy, much less I've heard that guy. All right, so if one is for 10 buyers and 10 sellers, the first strategy is sphere. The second strategy is open house. Only because it's free, other than the cookies. It's free. Now, is the open house actually the activity, or is it the end result? I think it's the end result.
Yeah, because
Right?
you should be doing the marketing and everything up beforehand.
So, how many listings do we have active at Bliss? Guesstimate.
I don't know, 30?
30. Thank you. How many agents do we have at Bliss?
27?
So, each agent, if they wanted to, each week could sit 5 open houses.
Yeah.
4. Right? So every week, if I worked at Bliss, I could literally have a pick of 30 listings I could sit open at any given time, because some are going to sell or are going to take new ones. Right? So every Tuesday, I pick my open house. Wednesday and Thursday, I circle prospect. Do you know why I circle prospect? It's free marketing. It's free branding. It's free me just going through the neighborhood, right? Because when I call, by the way, I have a Bliss Realty listing in my neighborhood, and no one's called me.
Nice.
And you guys had maybe an open house, I don't know, because I saw a whole bunch of open house signs. But here's the thing. I live in a neighborhood with one of your listings, and the only reason I know is because I walk my dog. Literally. And I was walking by and go, "Oh look, there's a Bliss listing." Like that's, like in my world, I'm like, yay, and like they haven't called me, they haven't door knocked me, they haven't done anything to let me know that they have a listing that's probably 420,000 ish. There's no pool in that house. It's 4-bedroom, at least 2.5 bath, with a 3-car garage. I know because I looked at it before I bought mine, because it was on the market before. Right? But I know all of that because I walk by the house, not because of any other reason. And I know because of what I do. Right? But what does the other part of the neighborhood think? They just think that there's a real estate sign. Right? And across the street from it, there's another real estate sign. And down the street from it, there's another real estate sign. There's 3 real estate signs on that street, and yet no one's talking to anybody. And then down the street, there's another 2 listings. I know this because I walked into my neighborhood over the weekend, and there's open house signs going every direction. And yet no one adding value. Because value is, "Hi, I'm having an open house. I just want to introduce myself and let you know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there from this time to this time. Would you like to know what the house sells for, what it sells?" Wouldn't you answer yes to all those questions? Wouldn't you find it a value if some guy like me came up with a branded shirt with a name tag and said, "Hi, I'm holding an open house. Here's a flyer"? What if I would have called you 2 days before and introduced myself and told you I was going to come and door knock on your on Friday and give you a flyer? And what if I said, if you have anybody, I'd stay late, or I'd come early. If you'd like to come early, I'll be there. But if I don't call, can I do any of what I just said? Yes, like a door knock, but then I'm surprising you in your bathrobe on a Saturday morning. Like, what the hell are you doing here? I just want to come and say hi. You don't know who I am. But oh my God, I would still love that a million times more than just signs. Does that make sense? Like, I just want to go back to, there's a reason why other companies are coming into our space. The open doors, the offer pads. Homie says don't even hire an agent. He says you're an idiot if you hire an agent. Dane Briggs, do the top realtors, went over there to become a realtor killer. And his wife still works for a title company. Just letting you know. Right? He said, oh, I'm going to go bet on the fact that you guys suck. It's insane, isn't it? This is our competition. Mm-hmm. By the way, they have every resource in their arsenal to make this happen quickly. Right? How fast can they do a CMA? I get a CMA from Zillow, Redfin, every single quarter. Every single quarter without fail, they give me bad, bogus information. Redfin does it, it's spot on, because Glenn is a realtor. Zillow is $100,000 off, because Zillow's not a realtor. Mm-hmm. Glenn Kelman, the owner of Redfin, is a licensed broker in every state of the country. So he has the same information we do. So all he has to do is build software that can come up with an algorithm that gives you a valuation based off of CMAs, right? Mm-hmm. Zillow doesn't, because they're not a realtor. Redfin is located in Seattle, Washington, and makes no money. And yet they're competing with us, right? They make money, they just not profitable.
They do.
But they compete, right? Homeo, do they take market slice? They're running for Senate. Did you see the Homie vote for Homie? I mean, they might as well, hey, there's all these political signs, let's vote for Homie. Straight up, people are going home and going, what the hell's Homie? Oh, it's a real estate site. You don't need an agent. That's our competition. What are we doing? If we think that holding an open house is the end-all be-all of our real estate business, it actually is. It's going to end us if we do open houses that way. Right? We put signs up and we hope that people come. Unless we drive that attendance, right? So circle prospecting and saying, hi, I'm Amir Asani with Bliss Realty. I just wanted to give you a quick call as a courtesy to let you know I'm going to be in your neighborhood this weekend doing an open house. And I would love it if you could come by if you're going to be home. Now on Friday before the open house, I'm going to come through your neighborhood and I'm going to introduce myself so you can put a face with a name. We want to make sure you know who's coming in your neighborhood and who's hosting these open houses, such that if you have a real estate related need or concern, you'll know who to contact. Here's my information. If I can ever be of service, I would love to be. If I came and did that at your door, wouldn't you remember me? A lot better than the dude that didn't even come by the door, because you don't even know it's a dude. I literally have no idea who's holding opens in my neighborhood. Right? And boy, would it be good if I did, because I have a big mouth. Hey, right? So when we pick an open and then we circle prospect it, we let the neighborhood know that we're serious and that we do business. And then in my dress shirt guild, right? For you, it would be either Bliss or a nice professional shirt that has horses on it. So if I door knock and I have a copy of the CMA and maybe a copy of my newsletter, would that be outlandish? Could I say, hi, my name is Amir Asani. Not only here's that flyer that I promised you, but also I've already gone ahead and done a CMA for the home, and here's an example of it. Would you like one for your home? Do you live here? Do you own this? Does that make sense? Like when I door knock, after I did this, if they don't want to see me, won't they just not answer their door? But if my script is, hey, I'm going to stop by and introduce myself. If you're not home, I'm going to leave a flyer at your door and one at your garage door. I never use my front door. Right? So, but if I open up my garage and I saw something in the paper, I'd park, I'd get out, I'd grab it, I'd get back in my car, and then I'd pull in. Right? Saturdays and Sundays are the day that we work. Now, by the way, remember I said that this is the day that we work? No, we work every day, right? But what day that we used to work? On the open house day, Right? It literally, like, I cannot explain to you. This is me. I'm not even talking about you. Me, when I did open houses, it was like, all right, I'm going to do an open house today. When I planned it? Today. When am I going to do it? Today. Right? Or like yesterday, I thought I would do it. What are you going to get? You're going to get maybe somebody that drives by and sees your sign. Right? But when you do all this activity, I don't care if anybody comes. Because I did all my work here. I already talked to everybody, shook every tree, met everybody. I don't care if they come or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they are going to come. And on Monday, I'm going to do the follow-up from that. And then the next day, I'm going to call Mara and say, which one of the 30 am I going to hit this week?
Mm-hmm.
Now, by the way, when I do this, would it be safe to say that most of your listings are in the East Valley?
Mm-hmm.
Are all of them in the East Valley?
No.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if most of them are in the East Valley, then every time you do an open house, don't you create the opportunity to create a farm? So an open house, effectively, is that I choose a day to do it. I circle prospects and market around it. I literally show up and market it. I then do it, and at this is where Shannon creates the list reports. This is where we have the school info and a map for all the other open houses. And your, is it Conversion that you guys are using?
We use Real Geeks.
Real Geeks, love it. Love Real Geeks even more. But Real Geeks is up and running on either your laptop or on the TV. Why? Why do you want your Real Geeks set up? Because you're going to register them on the damn thing. You're going to send them listing reports. You're going to send them listings that come on the market. You're going to show them how easy it is to use your site. You're going to register them because Real Geeks on the back end shows you the engagement of your consumer. So if you can get your entire database, remember that database? When you're using Real Geeks and you make this conversation, you say, hey, I'm going to email you a link to my website. I want you to go on it. If anything, I'm going to register you right now. I'm not going to buy anything. I don't want you to buy anything. I'm just going to register you so you see how it works. That way, if you have any friends or family that are buying a house, tell them about my website and I'll call them and they'll blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, I have an account on Sesame Street. But how cool is it when you show up like this in an open house? If you show up like this in an open house, that's why open houses are good for sellers. Because what I love to hear is, oh, I don't do open houses because of all the looky-loos. Looky-loos are the neighbors interviewing you.
I know.
And we're a jerk to them. We tell them we're busy. We tell them to go away.
Yeah.
And this is like literally the beginning, the seeds of the farm. Because those looky-loos are the ones that are going to tell everybody else how nice you were and how amazing you were to them. Like, I want looky-loos. I love looky-loos because they know everybody in the neighborhood because they've been looky-looing before you got there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I can say, well, tell me about Simon. Tell me about Kyle. Tell me about Lainey. And they're going to, oh, blah, 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 blah. Right? Because I've lived here for 20 years. So, the key about all of this is not skipping a step. If I'm going to do open houses, I want to make sure that I pick them with enough time to market around them. If I pick an open house Thursday I'm going to circle prospect. Friday I'm going to door knock. Saturday and Sunday I'm going to hold the open. Does that make sense? If I skip 2 days, that doesn't mean I skip the activities around those 2 days. If I pick one on Friday, I'm going to circle prospect in the morning, door knock in the afternoon, and show up on Saturday. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that I get the most out of my open houses, or else you might as well stay home. Because I don't know you're coming, and none of the neighbors know, and only 2 people show up, and those 2 people both have an agent. You're not there to sell the house. I remember one agent, they were like, oh, I've done 5 open houses and I've helped sell all of them. No, dude, you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. And the worst thing we can do is that, because now we're going to be busy doing shit we don't get paid for. Like, don't do that. We don't do that, right? We only do things that we get paid for. All right, so if 2 is open house, and the open house creates the ability for us to farm, shouldn't 3 be farming? By the way, So our sphere, if we have 200 people in our sphere and we effectively market to them and we give them all CMAs or find out that they're renting, is there a chance that we're going to get some deals out of that?
Oh, for sure.
Is there a chance that they're going to refer us to people that are looking to buy or sell? So there's a great chance that we're going to get of our 20, about 10 of them from our sphere if we work it right. Right? Okay. If we're doing an open house like this, twice a month, right? 2 weekends out of the month, you choose to do this. If I did this, Mara, how many people would I get to my open house? 10?
Yeah.
10. Let's just use, and I'm using small
That's
numbers,
fine.
right? If I can get 10 in my open house and I have this, and I have all of this, can 5 of them give me their contact information? Can I get 5 of them to register with me?
Easy.
Of those 5, can I get 2 of them to get pre-qualified with Shannon? If I get 2 pre-qualified with you, aren't you going to close both? So every open house that I do effectively, I can get 2 pre-quals and 2 solid leads, and I do 2 of them a month, and I get 4, and I have 2 fall out. Don't I still get 2? 2 a month. By the way, that's 24 transactions a year. If you were to just do 2 open houses a month, screw your sphere. Remember the people that don't want to work with people they know? Knock yourself out. Open houses. And, all right. So I get a little excited about all this. A farm. I live in Shadow Ridge. Shadow Ridge might have like 50 houses, 100 houses, I don't know. But all around me, if you were to count all the houses, there's at least 1,000 houses that I could walk to from my house. Your farm, 1,000 houses. Every other week of the year, if you don't want to work the summer, just figure out how not to do it during the summer, right? The 26 weeks, you're just going to have to double up some weeks outside of the summer if you don't want to walk in 100 plus degrees. Does that make sense? But I just want to caution you, I would rather do it all year round. Because I lived in Seattle and 9 months out of the year it rained. Could you imagine if I never door knocked? I door knocked in the rain and the wind and the snow. I didn't care. And the worse the weather was, the more people were apt to talk to me and welcome me in their house. Does that make sense? Are they going to give you water if it's 120 degrees out? Are they going to offer water? You're going to say yes. Why? Because just a simple this is a relationship build. Right? So, when I have a farm of 1,000 houses and I divide it by every other week, 26 weeks, because there's 52 in a year, I get almost 40. It's like 30 something. But I'm a big fan of rounding to an even number because my math is much better at even numbers. So 40 houses every single other week you go out and meet. If it's horse acres, well, you're not going to get that done. Bring a scooter. If it's my community, all day long you're fine. Why? Because like, hi, hello. I don't live in apartments, but it feels like it, right? Like most of our communities, we live in the same neighborhood. How far is your next door neighbor? About 15 steps. Right? Across the street, 15 steps. So, 40, if we spend 3 minutes at each door talking to them, that's an hour, that's 2 hours. 2 hours every other week when you go out and talk to, there's a young lady named Janine Igliani. Do we all know who that is? She is, she's a farmer in Power Ranch.
She's a real farmer.
She's a farmer. She's a home farmer. She's this farmer. She's not a farmer of crops. She's a realtor who farms her neighborhood. And she has market share. Dominant market share. This is how she does it. This is how she does it. This is exactly how she does it. I've seen her teach this class. If your place has 6,000 houses, take 1,000. And then when you're done, take the next. Yes, ma'am.
Rami, so they're a title company. If you were to say, hey, in that community, can you give me a list of all the renters? She gets phone numbers and emails. I know. I
And
don't
then
know
we
any
call
other
them.
title company that can do that right now.
The best thing about Title is that they want to help you go get business.
Yeah.
And they all have resources. The move up list, the move down list, the divorce list, the potential divorce list, the I hope I'm not on that list. And if there's a list I don't want to be on, it's
You
a
don't know
potential
yet.
divorce list.
It's coming.
PDL, no! I want to be on the NDL, never divorce list. Does that make sense? So, you just said it. How am I going to get the phone numbers and the names? Title. Here's the thing. I might call them to introduce myself and let them know I'm coming, or I might follow up with a call afterwards. Does that make sense? But in doing this, right, I'm going to offer the owners of the homes CMAs. I'm going to offer the renters of the homes down payment assistance, credit, and just lender. Right? Is there a whole lot more I can do there? Yes. Could I do a client appreciation event or a farm appreciation event? Could I get a get to know you in whatever neighborhood you live in? Right? Like, you're in Valencia, right?
Correct.
So in Valencia, each one of those gated communities has a park in the middle of it with a slide and a this and a that, right? With a big open field. Could you imagine a movie screen, one of those portable blow-up movie screens, where you go out and invite the whole neighborhood to come to movies in the park with your realtor partner and you? People would come with their lawn chairs, sit down and watch a movie. And then before it, you could say, hi, I'm Amir Hassan with Bliss Realty. This is my partner with Guild Mortgage. We just want to say thank you very much for coming to our first annual, our inaugural Movies in the Park in Valencia. Let everyone know that I'm here and you can come from the other gates too. Not a bad idea. Like, maybe do it. I've got a realtor that will partner with you. Right? But does that make sense? Like, wouldn't that be an awesome way to engage with the community after you door knock them?
I just bought one.
You just what?
A projector and a big movie screen.
There we go! Movies in the park. In addition to that, every farm in our farm, because we live next to each other, there's a Bash's neighborhood shopping center. If you go all the way over here, there was a baseball haircut place that's out of business already. Then there's an eyeglass store. Then there's Tony Sacco's, Tuscany's. It used to be called Tony Sacco's when it was a franchise. Now it's Tuscany's. You just moved the N and the S. Seriously. Then there's a nail place. Then there's a UPS store. Then there's Basha's. Then there's Leslie's Pools. Then there's the physical therapy place. And then there's a wine store. Then there's a vet, a groomer, a florist, an Edward Jones financial professional, and then Ace Hardware. Then you've got Fat Willie's that doesn't clean their bar. You've got, my bad, Orange Fitness, which is apparently amazing if you like to work out a lot. You got Filberto's right next to it if you want to eat Mexican food right after working out. You've got Mid-First Bank. You've got a Chinese place. You've got a karate dojo that just opened. And you've got a frozen yogurt. You've got a Starbucks. You've got the EOS Fitness sign-up place and Pizza Hut. And a closet attic place for people that like to buy consignment goods. I just named my entire shopping complex. If I went in and said hi to everybody other than Bashas', aren't they all business owners? And if I was farming in that area, wouldn't I be able to put together like a nice little sheet on all of their services and maybe like a coupon for each one of them that I can give away to everybody in my neighborhood? And then who would love me? Everybody? Like, everybody, right? Like the businesses would love me. The people would love me because I brought them coupons. Like, would anybody not think that was a loving touch for the farm? Right? So, local biz promotion. The only other thing that I'd recommend if I was farming today in this day and age is, does that community have a Facebook page? If they don't, make one. If they do, ask to see how you can contribute to it. First, like it, then start commenting on it and adding value to it. Does that make sense? Today, in this world, this didn't work 10 years ago. There was no Facebook community pages. Does that make sense? Today, I never bring up social media, and yet this is the one place, if I'm going to do it, that's where I'm going to concentrate. Cool? Now on the farm, one of the questions, right, about farms is, do you live in it? The best place to farm is where you live, because you're going to see everything that happens there more often. So if I would pick a farm, it would be where I live. If I don't own a house, I can't farm my apartment complex. I can for buyers. I can totally farm my apartment complex for buyers. If I'm renting anything, I can farm any of those areas, right? From a rental perspective. But what I'm talking about is when I'm farming my community that I live in, and I've got kids, I'm part of the PTO. Right? If I'm in the community, I want to find out when the community garage sale is. I want to see how I can help. Hey, do you need any open house signs to get directionals, anything else? Does that make sense? So in that farm, I want to get community involved. Am I preaching to the choir? Right? So first we have our sphere, because that's where 80% of our business should come from if we're profitable. Second is our open houses. Why? Because that's where people come. They come to see houses, they come to interview you. And they come unrepresented most of the time. Mm-hmm. If they come unrepresented there, they're probably not under a buyer broker agreement, right? Mm-hmm. Because if they were, they'd come in and say, hi, I'm under buyer broker agreement. Mara told me to tell you that. Right? The farm is just, again, the best way to add value. Right? Now, instead of farming, you can just go buy leads. But aren't the people that are the leads that you buy, the people that go online in the neighborhoods that you don't service? Just saying, right? When realtors get pissed off, when Zillow's selling them their own leads, that's because we're not servicing the business. All right, so we've got sphere, open house, and farming as the 1, 2, 3 pillars of our business to get our 20 buyers and sellers. What are the other 2? And I say that because that's where we get variation. Does everybody have a sphere of influence, a database of people they know? Mm-hmm. Can everybody, or should everybody, sit their product open houses? And if you're smart, wouldn't it make sense to market for future business in a geographical area that you want business from? Farming. Right? So, outside of those 3, which, by the way, if sphere is 60%, open house is 20%, and farming is 10%, there's 90% of your business. We're now going to come up with the other 10%. Does that make sense, guys? And that's really why it's really hard to, after those 3, really put a whole lot of onus in anything else. Right? I say, here, this is why I say it. Right? For a second, let's just stop and think about our business. We've got our sphere of influence. We've got open houses. In the middle here, it's called work. We have to work our sphere. We have to work open houses. Mara, last year that word was prospecting, and everyone kind of looked at me funny, so I made it work. A little bit, right? Like people look at prospecting funny, so you call it work, and everyone understands what that means. If you say prospect, I don't do that. But do you work? Yeah. Okay, good. Let's go.
All day long.
Right? That's the only job we have. So if this is our job, then everything else is the business. So that's why farming is a business. It's for future business. Now, is it potential that you could knock on a door and they're like, we're looking to buy and sell now? Could it happen? Yes. And the reality is it's going to be in the future, not today. Open house, is somebody could walk in. Could they be ready to go now? Yeah. Right? Your sphere, can they give you a ready to go buyer now? Or seller now? Yeah. Farming is typically going to be something that is creating business in the future.
Right.
Right? Now, what's the traditional farming technique?
People just mail.
Just sold postcards, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just like, oh. So traditional method of doing this is postcards, right? And just tell me what you do with your postcards. You throw them away when you get them in your house, right? If you even look at them. And are they usually from a person you've never seen or heard of in your life, who finally sold one house in your neighborhood and thought it was an amazing thing, so they're going to tell the whole world? Like, when was the last time you saw the same realtor send a postcard in the same neighborhood? Just wondering. Right? Typically, I see now Tom Wood. Tom Wood's a realtor, and he's got 2 offices in like the West Valley, but he practices here, and he farms my neighborhood. 85249, my neighborhood. How I know that is I get his flyers in the mail, and they are this big.
Jeez.
This big, not the whole packet, but this size. Right? They're this size. Now, how expensive is it to send something that's this size on both ends, color, glossy? It ain't cheap. Right? And what's the return? What did I do with it? Tossed it. And if I didn't know who Tom Wood is, would I have cared? No. Right? Now, I told a buddy of mine that one of our neighbors was thinking about selling and that he should give him a CMA. I don't know if he did, but the guy is up for sale now. Because I talked to him at the park and he said he was thinking about selling. And I'm not a realtor, so I can't give him the CMA. So I went to my realtor and told him to give him a CMA. He might have, but he never followed up again. Right? And then this dude got a postcard about Tom Woods being the expert in the neighborhood. Guess who listed his house? Tom Wood. Do postcards work in the absence of everything else? Absolutely. Now, out of that whole neighborhood, he's only gotten 1 listing. He got one last year too, but that one didn't sell. All right, like I know this. Does anybody else? No. Right? But postcards, just listed and just sold. Imagine. Remember when I told you to circle prospect and introduce yourself to the neighborhood? Imagine you have their phone number still. Imagine if you were to call them and say, hey, we just had a new listing in your neighborhood. Hey, we just had a sale in your neighborhood. Hey, there's a new listing. It's not ours. It's Coldwell Bankers. It's Realty One Groups. It's XYZ. I don't care. But you're the person that's giving them the value. You're calling them and telling them there's a new listing. Would you like me to tell you when it sells? Would you like me to tell you how much it sells for? Would you like a new CMA based on that price? Would you like Shannon to give you a free mortgage review so that you can see if you can get out of your down payment assistance or out of that PMI or whatever? But can we have those conversations without that? I don't know. I can't. It's a lot easier to have those conversations with that, right? So I'm gonna, instead of postcard, I'm gonna call and tell them about the just listed, just sold. Are there open houses in the farm? Could you imagine if you called those same people and said, hey, it's Amir Sani calling with Blessed Realty. Hey, I just want to give you a call and let you know there's an open house in your neighborhood. It's not one of ours, but if you know anyone that's looking to buy, I would love to represent them and take them to the open house and make sure that we get the best deal for them. Could you do that without it? No. Right? So, calling around your farm after introducing yourself to the farm by door knocking and getting those lists and doing all of that is all good. Does that make sense? Now, any area we can get phone numbers for. Through title, through our directories, etc. Now, remember I said this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3? Okay. The rest of it is negotiable. Some people like the internet. Some people like throwing client appreciation parties. Some people like joining professional networks. Some people like all kinds of things, right? But where does that end up? In this space. Right? And I say that because typically it's going to come with an expense. Right? Like I have a friend who joined a BNI group. That BNI group meets every single week for 3 hours during lead generation on like a weekday. And then he told me that they postponed it for a couple months, and I'm like, thank God. Right? Like that's not a good value of your time. I would rather go join the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. I'd rather go join the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce or the Chandler Chamber of Commerce. I'd rather go join a professional organization that offered me the ability to create referral partners. Not Better Business Bureau, but you know what I mean. The Chamber of Commerce, the visitors and the Visitor Bureau in Scottsdale, because apparently that's the big one there. But the question is, right, like we went to the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. When this place opened, both Mesa and Gilbert Chamber of Commerce came to celebrate the brand opening of Gilbert because we moved from Mesa. Who does that? Only someone that's really well connected with those chambers. How do you get the exiting chamber to come and celebrate your new chamber? Being a really cool person like Shannon. But I say that not out of complimenting her, which I do often, But it's to say that the biggest aha I had was when I went to the chamber. And I saw all these business professionals and all these people that live in the community, all these people that know other people that have spheres that can refer us, who would love to, who would absolutely love nothing more than to have a great business partner. And the only reason why they don't is that you haven't gone and introduced yourself. Hi, Sal. But I say that because the president of those chambers would love nothing more than the realtors to come in and add value to their organizations. And how much does it cost to join as an individual? Like $150 to $300? All right, so really cheap. And you get a business directory of every business that's affiliated with that chamber. Imagine how easy it would be to call and say, hi, this is Amir from Bliss Realty. Hey, I just joined the chamber and I noticed that you're blah, blah, blah. Can we meet for lunch so I can hear about your business and how I can refer you? Guarantee you they're going to want to hear the same thing back. I don't care if you've ever done one or if you never want to do one. I think client appreciation events are the best thing that we can do for our clients. Now, if we did a quarterly client appreciation event, couldn't we have their CMA ready for them when they came to the event? This goes all the way back to that beginning of name, email, phone number, address, and birthday. I want their address, and if I can invite them to events, I can give them their CMA there. Now, if I'm brand new, I'm not going to do quarterly events. I'm going to pick one. One event. What could that event be? It might be a little late, but oh my God, if you're like me and you like to do things fast, I might do a pick up your pie and take a picture of the fat guy at my office event. Costco sells delicious pumpkin pies. They don't sell a big fat guy. So we got to go find somebody that is willing to be a Santa. Oh, the best part about this time of year, there's plenty of unemployed Santas. So they all want your business, right? But how long are we talking here? An hour, maybe 2 hours? To where you rent this person, you give them a throne, you get a photographer, you have them come in, you have people take pictures. I love this because I don't have to go to the mall. Have you ever been to the mall for pictures with Santa? It goes through the mall, the entire line, and you just sitting there with your kids that are dying and killing you on the way. Or you can just go to a nice real estate office, pick up a pie, take your pictures, have some fun, and a week later, get a picture from your realtor. That would be hands down the one that I do. If I did do that one, I would do like a spring training game. I'd go buy tickets to the outfield. I would bring my open house signs and I'd stand outside and tell you to come pick up a ticket from the open house guy. Why do I do that? I don't give a shit if anybody comes. I've got my sign up. Bliss Realty, open house. What's that? Oh, we got tickets for a game. Do you have tickets? Would you like to come in our booth? All day long, right? Client appreciation events are the outreach, not the outcome. I don't care how many people come. The less people come, the better. It's cheaper. And the people that don't come are feeling guilty that they didn't come because you invited them. I don't leave that one blank. I don't care what you do. Right? I don't care if you buy internet leads. I hope you don't. I mean that. Right? The internet lead you typically get is going to be $200,000 or less, and it's going to take 6 months to convert. Right? I guarantee you, if you pick any farm in the East Valley, there's not a house in there that's worth $200,000. Right? So you just increase your price point by not going online. Because seriously, online, what are they looking for? Are they looking for a great deal? If not, wouldn't they use the realtor they had? Because who doesn't know one? But this is all left blank to whatever you want to do with your money. Now remember I said that the only thing different between buyers and sellers are expires and for sale by owners. Most people don't like calling expires and don't like working with for sale by owners. The only place that I would target that would be in my farm. Right? Because you're going to meet them, aren't you? If you knock on their door, if you call them, aren't they going to tell you about the shitty experience they had when they listed their home? Or how they think that they can do what you're doing for no money at all? You're going to save all that money? You're going to save all that money. Right? A lot of people don't like calling expires and don't like working with for sale by owners. The only place that I would target that would be in my farm. Right? Because you're going to meet them, aren't you? If you knock on their door, if you call them, aren't they going to tell you about the shitty experience they had when they listed their home? Or how they think that they can do what you're doing for no money at all? You're going to save all that money? Those are all great conversations that we can have as long as we've got the opportunity to have that conversation. If we don't have that opportunity to have the conversation, it's really hard to talk to those people. Now again, if I moved into the state and I knew nobody, that would be where I start calling expires and for sale by owners. Does that make sense? Around my open houses, around my farm. But really, I don't think I don't think anybody that doesn't want to give themselves a little brain damage needs to call expires and for sale by owners every day. And yet they are the only ones that have raised their hand and said, I would like to sell. Think about that. Right? The only people in real estate that are literally raising their hand and saying that I would love to sell this house are expired listings and for sale by owners. Everybody else, we're guessing. That's why the Mike Ferries of the world, the Mike Ferry agents, that wake up every morning, check the MLS, look for expires, and start calling those people at 8 a.m., sometimes 7. There's people like that. Doesn't mean you have to be. And it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to be. It's just, again, if I were to take that dollar sign and say, you do whatever you want with it, that's where I would put that one. I wouldn't stop doing everything else, I would just include that one. So that's the 1 and the 2. That's how we get 10 buyers and 10 sellers. We work our sphere, we work our open houses. We prospect around a farm, we have client appreciation events. Look, if we have signs, do you guys have, what do you guys do with your sign calls?
Well, typically the agent's numbers are on the signs.
So the sign in my neighborhood has that agent's phone number on it,
Yeah,
because
it
there's a
should.
sign writer with their information on top.
It should, they're all customized.
Okay. So if they're all customized,
Yeah.
again, the challenge with a sign call is, number one, it's not part of our plan, but if I'm a listing agent, it should be
Yeah.
part of my plan.
Oh, it
every
should be, yeah.
every sign that I put in the ground, I
Yeah.
should get a couple leads from, right? And so how that usually doesn't happen is that when we have our own phone number on the sign, if we're not available to take that call, does that call ever get responded to? Typically, no. Right? If it goes to voicemail, we check the voicemail like in 3 weeks when our voicemail's full and we're cleaning it up. So that's why I don't have sign calls on there, as much as I think sign calls are a valuable way, and that's where that LP Mama script comes from. Right? It's for sign calls, internet leads, anything like that. We're going to use the LP Mama script. That's location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage, and appointment. Right? Location, is the location important to you? Price, is this the price you're looking at? Motivation, if we can find a place, or if this is the place that we can get a deal going, are you ready to move forward now? Right? Agent, are you currently working with an agent? Are you under buyer broker agreement with anybody? That way I know if I'm wasting my time. And from there, I'm going to go, are you buying cash or are you using a mortgage? Great. Have you gotten pre-qualified? No, let me introduce you to Shannon. She's great. And then now that we've got all that, let's set up a time where we can meet in person. We can go over all this together. That would be that A to the appointment. Right, but that's that LP Mama. Hi. We're next. Don't worry.
We are.
Yes, ma'am. I have no idea. Does that make sense? Yeah. Does that make sense though, so
Yeah.
far? So the last thing is 3 is you, right? And this goes back to last year. This isn't any different, right? So this is, are you using a calendar to plan your business?
No better, right?
If you are, then you probably work inside of a schedule. I do. And the only thing that you should time block is your lead gen. You can't time block anything else. You can't time block when your appointments are because people have appointments all over time. But you can time block your lead gen, and that should be 9 to 10 in the morning. Because most people, I say most, don't want to meet in that time. Are you going to have the weird person that wants to see houses at 9? Sure. That day you're going to have to change your lead gen. But that's why it's in the schedule on the calendar. Accountable to yourself, right? Whatever this goal is, whatever your plan is, whatever you plan on doing every single week, your intention is that. It's an intention, right? But the action is to fulfill that intention, right? So that accountability is to your intentions. I intend to do this. Well, then, don't say I'm going to try. No, it's really easy. I tried. It didn't work. Right? But when I intend, there's no, it didn't work. I intended, I did it. Right? So intentional. I say this all the time. How most of us just wake up and they're just ready to go. I need no practice. I don't need to stretch, just put me in the game. Right? The reality is, what happens when we stretch and we practice before the game? Don't we play better? If we stretch, we warm up, you know, our first person isn't the tester. I'm gonna warm up on you, Kyle. By the time I get tomorrow, I'm gonna be great. Who knows what Kyle was, right? He could have been $1 million buy. Screw that one up because that was it. Right? So when I script practice and role play, how well do I show up door knocking? How well do I show up circle prospecting? How well do I show up on that? Hey, I'm updating my 2019 real estate database, and I just want to make sure I included you. That sounds like a script, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I just made it up in my head. Now I almost did, but I mean, that's why this is important. And it's important to have a partner to do it with. In your office, each agent can partner up with somebody, or they can partner up with one of us, and we can support them. Read. This year, I've read so many books, and my favorite book that I've read of all of them is Hug Your Customers by a guy named Jack Mitchell. It's amazing. I want to buy all my clothes from this clothing retailer. I have none of them, but I just want to get in his database. I want to see that database touch and that program that he's got. How cool would it be if somebody wanted to be in your database that bad? Right? But the only reason I know that is because I read that book. Right? And half the things that I say come out of a book. Because I'm not that smart. And they are. Right? So reading just makes you better. Right? The average millionaire reads 3 books a month. George's gonna love this. Do we know what Be-Do Have is? I've got the socks on.
Bold.
I've got my Be-Do Have socks on. It's not just bold, but bold incorporates Be-Do Have. So, have you ever heard somebody say, "Oh my God, I would totally have all of that if I would totally be like that if I could have all of this first." Right? Like most people want the have before they do, and way before they be. Right? So most people are have, do, be.
Or
Which-
have and not do.
Right? So have, do, be is not usually a good thing, unless you're at a concert, and it's a great thing. But outside of that, it doesn't work, right? So you have to be a certain type of person. You have to do the certain type of work that that person does, bless you, before you can have the results of that certain type of person. Does that make sense? Right? Like we look at professional athletes, we're like, oh my God, I would love to have that salary that professional football player has. Do you know what that professional football player had to do their entire lives and who they had to be their entire lives? Usually the person that didn't go out, usually the person that did 3 extra workouts, whatever. Right? To be a professional athlete, not to be the guy in high school. Right? But to be a professional athlete or to be professional anything, how much time goes into it? Right? Everybody just sees the tip of the iceberg, the have. They absolutely don't see the person that you have to be or the things you have to do to get to what you want to have. For us to have the results that we want, we have to do all the work, right? And to do all the work, don't we have to be a certain type of person? Someone that works a calendar, uses a schedule and time blocks, someone that is accountable to their own goals, someone that is practicing their scripts and role playing with somebody else before they go out and do it with the rest of the world. And then someone that's reading to make themselves better, which actually, wouldn't that also fall into what are you learning to improve? Education, wouldn't that be your CRM? How many people know how to use Real Geeks? How many people know how to use the Cromford Report or know what the purchase and sale contract looks like or how to do anything? So I'm going to calendar my education because I can't just show up and go, today I'm gonna learn. Right? So I've got to say this Monday I'm going to go to this class at Sephora to learn about that. I'm going to ask Mara to put a class together next Friday. We're all going to show up and it's going to be about this. That's education. Right? Education isn't what I read at home. What I read at home is what I read. When I go to education, I go to somewhere and I sit down with others. Now that's a great way to also recruit agents into Liz. Hey, why don't you come over to our office? Check out what we're doing. Does that make sense? if I'm this type of person, can anything stop me? If I am getting better at my job by education, if I'm getting better in my mindset by reading, that's what reading is, right? Reading is re-edifying all of the thoughts you have with somebody else saying it. I swear this makes me feel better when I can sound better. Right? I remember the first couple times I got on the phone, didn't know what to say. And then I got on the phone, I knew what to say, and I was good. Right? Because once you know what you're saying, won't you get better?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You have to pick up the phone and do it.
Oh, that's the worst thing. And honestly, the biggest fear we have is to sound bad
Mm-hmm.
or desperate. And the best way to not sound bad or desperate is to be scripted. Period. Because it's not you that's coming out. It's somebody else's words with your voice. And I promise you that's better than your own. But at some point, I love memorizing and internalizing scripts because then I can customize them to my own style and to the person in front of me. Right? MIC. But that's it, right? Is if we do the work that we stated, and we are a type of person that is going to be accountable to the work that we state that we're going to do, then the easiest part is collecting the paycheck. I hope this was good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you.
My pleasure.